and Anna Rippon to the table, please. Welcome, Michael and Anna. You've probably had the rules explained. It's a 5-minute session. We keep pretty closely to that because we have a fairly heavy agenda today, and then there's an opportunity for up to 3 questions if required. So welcome to the committee, and invite you to begin your presentation.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you for allowing us to speak today. We are here to petition Auckland Council to adopt policies that better enable plant-based eating. At the very least, we would like Auckland Council to follow the same resolution as the Bay of Plenty Regional Council, who last year determined that all council meetings should serve only plant-based food. I was pleased to see that this council meeting is serving plant-based food already, so we would like to ask Auckland Council if they would go further than the Bay of Plenty, because I think Auckland should lead, not follow, and adopt the resolutions of the C40 cities in procurement policies that favour plant-based foods and other similar policies that would favour plant-based over animal agriculture. The reasons are, firstly, Auckland Council has declared a climate emergency. Animal agriculture is responsible for 49% of greenhouse gases emitted in New Zealand, as measured by the International Panel for Climate Change. If we include the short-term effects of methane, it's likely to be a lot higher. There are other environmental effects of animal agriculture. It is responsible for water pollution, near extinction of New Zealand's freshwater fish, nitrate poisoning, rivers that can't be swum in, and habitat destruction, which is a leading cause of extinction. There are also human health effects, but the environmental effects show that animal agriculture is shockingly inherently wasteful. Passing food through an animal is wasteful before eating it, as well as inherently inhumane. There are also health effects, and adopting a plant-based diet, according to recent research by Dr. John O'Drew at Otago University and published in Environmental Health Perspectives, would save $26 billion in health costs over the present cohort of New Zealanders. A study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, USA, has also calculated that particulate matter, which is air pollution, from animal agriculture facilities, particularly chicken facilities, will cost more in health costs than they get from revenue, which really makes animal agriculture, particularly chicken and dairying in New Zealand, because it costs more to clean up than they get in revenue, essentially dole bludgers. Dr. Mark Craig, who's a GP in Auckland, has endorsed this position. He says that he has treated and even reversed chronic illnesses using diet only, not medication. He states that our standard meat and dairy-heavy diet is a contributor to heart and stroke disease, cancers, autoimmune disease, diabetes, and dementias, which is interesting. So I'd now like to call on Anna Rippon to talk about plant-based catering and alternatives to animal agriculture.
Good morning, board members. Thank you for your time and attention this morning. We hope that you find the argument supporting a plant-based future for Auckland Council as compelling as we do. In case you have your reservations about sourcing plant-based foods, I've put together a sample of menus for you. You should have that file with you. Here it is on screen. It is also possible that due to the increasing demand, many of your current suppliers may already offer plant-based menus. We have an offer for you today to sample some plant-based meatballs with sweet chili and maple glaze and crispy garlic bits prepared by Angel of Lushan, which is a Filipino plant-based catering company featured in our menu sample. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much for that, and we look forward to sampling the food. Councillor Cooper.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And I mean, I'm eat most of vegetarian, and I think we have a very good offer here and in our cafe for all our staff. One of the questions I had is, so I'm asking because I was listening yesterday on national radio, and I've found the article here around 50 billion bees being killed within a few months in almond in 1819 because of the effects we're putting bees into almond orchards all over the world, particularly in America, where that's one of the highest places because we rely on almond milk, all of these different alternatives, but we're actually almost wiping out our bee populations, which we know is really, really important for that. And the scale of what we are demanding globally seems to support agricultural type operations rather than organic, because we want the stuff so much. It's also taking huge amounts of water. So what I kind of want to know is, if you're offering these plant-based type things, that how much processing is there? You know, has that got big effects as well? You know, and if you're replacing some, meat replacements, things like jackfruit, all of that, what effects are those having? Because we don't hear about that, and that's my concern, that there's an increasing conversation about we're going because it's the thing to do, it's the trendy thing, and everyone just does it, but we're not actually researching what's happening behind it, just as much as agriculture, as traditional farming. And that's my real concern, that we jump into things and we don't know the full effects of that type of thing as well, rather than having a balanced approach.
Thank you.
I'll take that one.
Michael or Anna?
There has been a great deal of research on plant and animal-based diets. There was a paper in Nature in 2016 which compared the effects of insecticides, pesticides, the sorts of things that are killing bees, of a plant-based and animal-based diet. They found that the only way to feed an estimated 11 billion people, which is the UN projected estimates, is going to go up to 11 billion, then start to go down as we... is to, without further deforestation and without further input of pesticides, is for everyone to have a plant-based diet. In 2018, a journal came out in the internationally peer-reviewed journal Science by some Oxford scientists who compared all systems, plants and animals, and they found the same, that the plant-based systems are actually much better for the environment, whatever indicators you are using. Our plant-based systems, yeah, they use intensive agriculture, but people don't realise animal-based systems use intensive agriculture too. Most cropping, most soy, according to the Institute of Concerned Scientists, is actually used to produce animal feed. Only about 6% is used to feed humans directly. So it's not vegans binging on tofu who are causing deforestation in the Amazon. It's the soy being used for animal feed. It's the same with cropping and with foraging. I mean, even nice grass-fed beef that we get in New Zealand, that requires habitat destruction. The the Productivity Commission, which is a government-mandated body, had recommended that that all be reforested in order to go to a low emissions economy.
And we actually have a graph that we can circulate that shows the different environmental effects of all foods. Common foods. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Councillor Casey.
That meatball that's actually a veggie bowl gets 10 out of 10. It's brilliant. And I think your idea of reducing our meat intake as councillors is a good one that we should take up. So I'll offer that to the Chief Executive.
Not all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take that as a comment, I think, rather than a question. Are there any other questions? If not, Councillor Walker, last question.
Just going to make the observation that given that that's a good idea, it's important that we have sufficient variety of non-meat products so that we have, for example, sufficient protein and other things, because that's really important. So it isn't just, let's say, a fruitarian option, for example, we need.
Thank you, Councillor. If I can ask somebody to move the resolution of receiving and thanking Michael and Anna for their presentations. Moved by Councillor Casey, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All those in favour, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Carried. And thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for keeping within your time. Not everybody is capable of doing that, and you've